Hello, everybody.
Are you streaming? Wait,
You always do
let
this.
me refresh.
I
go,
hit the
yes.
button and I say hello, and you're like, "Are you even stream?" And I am, but it just takes you a second.
It's just I'm dumb, okay?
Listen, I'm gonna be lashing out at people today after my poor performance on Neon White.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
I asked to be dummy thick, but I ended up just being dumb thick.
Yes.
Thick dumb.
I put a few things on the big topics of the week, Mike.
Oh
I don't know if you want to add anything else.
Big topics of the week.
The
I mean,
beefy
just Skull&Bones.
Yeah. Put that on because I did not get pre-briefed on that, and I would like to know what's going on. Okay.
You're a pirate and you go around stealing shit.
This is true.
Wait, pirates stole things?
Pirates are thieves?
Okay, let's see here. Where do we need to be with all this stuff? There's
Ooh,
that.
I'm getting a phone call for a private number. Let's not pick that one up.
What? No way.
You don't answer your phone when people are calling? Oh my god.
Hell
so
no.
so
You imagine.
irresponsible.
You
I don't give
imagine.
a fuck. If it's an emergency, they're gonna call again.
Open Discord in your browser and then mute the tab. All right. Where is it? Podcast producers.
Now every time I get like a promotional like phone call to sell me shit, I'm like just
don't.
hang up right away. I don't even.
Yeah,
I
but
used
we'll
to
do
be
that
like,
again.
no, thank you, I'm not interested. I'm like, no.
I worked at a call center for a week, actually.
Oh
it was
shit!
awful.
Did I
Yeah.
hang up on you?
Yeah, well, just do it. Hey, we're happier about that than having the awkward, like, oh, no, just hang up on us so we can get to move on to the next person. As long as you don't
Let's
yell
go.
at us,
That's
it's
the
great.
that's the most
Hang up on us.
optimal technique right there.
Now, if you really want them to stop, the policy is the one I was at. If they ask one time, that's like one strike or whatever. We have to like mark it. But if then we call them back like the next day, and if they say stop calling us a second time, that's when we actually stop calling people. Which seems a little messed up. Like I don't know why the first one isn't good enough, but it wasn't. I'm tweeting.
Okay, and then I am camera-ing. Let's see here. Let's put you there, and then let's see what that looks like. It doesn't look like anything.
Hit that thumbs down, unsubscribe, report the video. Thank you. It helps a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's just the top of my head.
Oh shit!
I had to Control F. Oh no, Control F.
You had a lovely sculpt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks perfect. Like I don't know, a warrior to take it out of your dead body.
What?
I don't know what I did. That
You're
I
gonna
don't
steal
know. I was
body
thinking about
parts?
pirates.
Scalping people?
Yeah, pirates don't scalp people.
No, you're thinking.
No, that's a Native American stereotype.
Yes,
I
but
thought pirates did that. I think
No, you got it
pretty
mixed
sure.
up.
well, maybe some
know.
pirates did. I don't know. None that I'm aware of.
Pirates used to be. People really don't know what the fuck pirates did. Huh? It's just like they're like,
could be
you
anything,
know,
who
they
knows?
work for the government, didn't you?
I do like how, even in like this dark and gritty pirate game they're calling it, it is still very much that whole like, being a pirate's fun thing, right? Oh, what a life of adventure. It's like, wow, this is great because you can go from rags to riches. This is all very good stuff. We're all very happy.
It's like I don't know. It's funny because like they did that with
what, Vikings?
what yeah, they did that with Vikings. What other problematic like back in the day military force like
At least in the Viking, they tried very hard to be like, oh, these people were driven from their own land. Oh, that was always it was like
not really.
you meet the one actual famous Viking, and he's like just torturing a person viciously and murdering them. But the game's kind of like, isn't this kind of funny? I'm like, not really. The later game's like, this is your drinking buddy. Like, I don't want to hang out with this weirdo.
Who else are you gonna hang out if not with the mass murderer?
Like, I don't like this guy. He should be in mod. I should kill him.
I need to tweet, and then I think we're ready. Let me see here. Copy.
You had the music?
I need to tweet and then fix the music, and then we'll be ready to go. So let's see here.
And I'm never gonna give up unless. Did you use that song again? Because when they revealed that game, they used that song from Seal.
I don't think they did. Call me crazy.
But it was like sad.
Yeah,
We
where's
got a
this?
little
I don't
bit
think so.
crazy.
I don't know any other Seal songs. I don't think other than the "Kiss by a Rose."
I was about to say,
Is
one.
Rose and crazy?
I don't know crazy. I don't think.
Is it? And you're not gonna give up on us. We're gonna get a little crazy.
No,
I
it
just know that part.
does not ring a bell. Well, no,
Oh.
yeah, I know that one, obviously.
Better. I'll kill you.
And the eyes,
Better
it's,
you'll be
the
dead.
Batman and Robin.
Eyes, they did glow, and I did lots of blow and some weed.
All right,
Baby!
Grow up.
Okay.
Baby! I don't want to kiss my rose in the grave. The more I think about the strange.
We sang on the thing. We sang. We did that weird TikTok song there. Where it's like, "Oh, there is a thumbprint on the window, and it's around the corner." And then the guy comes in. You don't know this one?
No, because I don't look at TikTok. This is the stuff I'm spared from.
Well, yeah, but this
Okay,
but this is
I
like
love
an
that
old song that, and then
It
they're
is,
just
yeah.
they're like covering it, and then the other guy comes and starts singing like, "And he's a doing
good, actually.
and we're like, no one sings like that. Why are you doing this?
Did you see? I saw on TikTok that the kids are going to see the Minions movies and doing a lot of TikTok memes while they're seeing it. And
Yeah,
I try
like
not to resent. I try not to resent younger people, Jeff.
They make it
because
hard.
they're
Huh?
different, but they make it. Sometimes it's hard.
Yep. All right. I'm just getting the audio fixed, everybody, and then we'll get started. Sorry. Let's see. Music. And I'm gonna name this one intro.
I know.
I just did all this
Steve
stuff a
from
couple weeks
Community.
ago, and then I had to restart everything, so we lost everything. but-
Yeah, that's
Nick,
true.
Nick, are you calling us boomers because we don't like the people dressing up to go
Are you-
see the Minions
I think
movies
it's
because
because
it's a
of
funny
the seal
joke?
loving. We
Because
love
of
Seal
Seal?
here.
Oh,
the-
sure. What does Seal do
Seal was
anymore?
great.
Still do things.
He was married
I
to
don't
Heidi
know.
Klum for many years, but not anymore.
Wow. So the best years of his life are behind him.
Yes.
I don't think that was in meant with like doing things.
Oh, okay. Well, he was doing Heidi Klum for some years. And
Wow!
on.
Wow!
Wow.
Wow! Wow!
Wow.
Wow!
All right, let me get this in here, and then we'll be ready. Oh my God! Just give me the
Wow.
same folder I was just in, you dumb bastard.
Wow.
Podcast.
I've
Outro.
been Jeff Grubbed. I've been. If I could, the best is when like he comes in behind himself. And he's like,
Wow.
if I should fall. Well, I like when people back up themselves in their songs.
Yeah, it's funny when they had to do it live, when they had to clone themselves and then.
Okay,
Yes.
then I just need to make sure.
Well, then they usually get like a
back.
backup singer to actually do that part, and then it doesn't sound right, and it's kind of weird.
Voice and video.
That man is dead.
It's been a while
Yeah,
since I
sure
used that
is.
one.
Yeah, that's a
I
harmonica.
need new sound. Oh my god, I need new sounds, but I'm too lazy.
Okay. All right. So you guys should be able to hear a little bit of music right now. Let me do this other one. Just make sure. You guys hear that?
No.
Nope.
Hear that?
Nope.
Nope.
It's probably just not routed correctly, but then we'll be good. Let's see. Routing, chat mic, music.
Mike, you have to change your shirt because Disney's gonna come here and gonna take down the stream.
I like to see them
This is
try those
copyrighted
little
material. Yeah.
bitches. Let's see what they got. I ain't afraid of them.
Wow. All right then.
Yeah. Suck it down, Daikatana. Yeah, you guys can hear the music, but I can't hear the music, and I matter more than you do.
Yeah,
Why can't
Mike
I hear the music? What's
ears
going on?
needs to
Chat
be
mic?
served the best quality of music. Okay,
What is my
you don't understand.
What is my
If
nose bridge
Mikey
shirt?
ain't happy,
Nobody said.
nobody happy, or
What's my
some shit like
nose bridge
that.
Shirt? My nose bridge sunburn or something? Why is it?
Oh,
Ow.
it's the noise suppression, wasn't it?
There it is. I
probably.
hear it.
Fucking Discord, quit turning that shit on. Get
Oh,
out of
yeah, you
here.
always turn that
Get
shit
out
on.
of here with that.
I think you can turn it off.
Get out of here!
Yeah, yeah, get
think you
out
can
of
turn
here.
I think you can turn it off directly from like the call, not from like.
Hey, I think you should have mind your own beeswax.
All right, getting started
And
at
me,
10
Yoko
minutes,
Mike
like
here.
always. Okay,
Kinda scary.
I think I'm ready. Mike, you ready?
Are you ready for sure?
No, but
Oh.
it
He's
doesn't
ready
matter.
enough.
I'm ready enough.
We're gonna do Rift Track tomorrow, so don't forget to say that.
We're going to play Rift Tracks tomorrow night, everybody. All right, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game Mess Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Geoff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
In today's episode, got news, games, shirts. We do have shirts, actually. It's actually getting reviewed, so we got to wait a little bit. But mostly, I just want to know, Mike, how are you doing?
Oh, okay. Internet was down most of the day, which was just kind of frustrating. And then I also have awful LTE at my home for some reason, so I couldn't even tether from my phone or even connect to the internet on my phone. So I actually had a pre-brief on the Skull&Bones thing. So I was writing it on my phone, then driving until I got decent 4G coverage so I could mail it to Rachel so she could post it for me. So and then after that, I was just all right, I guess I'm just going to sit around at home now for a bit until I can actually get to work again. But thankfully, the internet came back a bit ago so I can do this.
At your home, your phone only gets kind of pretty spotty coverage.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Everywhere else in the county seems fine. So maybe Verizon's satellite is just everyone but fuck Mike with its coverage. I don't know. Maybe they need to switch. Maybe I have to bring people here with T-Mobile and see what kind of 4G they get.
Yeah, actually, you know what? T-Mobile, if you have T-Mobile, you can call and they'll send you out a little repeater thing. And I got one of those for our house back in Colorado, and it helped out a little bit.
Actually just complain to Verizon, and then they'll solve the problem I have. But that sounds like work.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Mike, I'm pretty exhausted. Did a lot of stuff today, but it was a good time. I just want to make sure we put out the Neon White Open on GiantBomb. I don't think anybody should watch it.
I missed it because my internet again, and now I feel like I definitely need to look at this stuff.
It was just pretty standard stuff. I don't think it's not interesting or dramatic in any way. It's all.
You opened the forbidden door, didn't you?
Yes, we did open the forbidden door, and we got Vinny and Brad on there from Nextlander. That was fantastic. They were great. Alex Bonello, Broadway Alex, star. Oh, he showed off 2 of his Tonys in front of us to mock us. That wasn't fun. That hurt my feelings. I don't have any Tonys.
Do you want a Tony, Geoff? Do you want us to try to come up with some kind of a Tony project?
Well, I do want us to try to get a daytime Emmy. We're doing this on GiantBomb, and I'm looking at it. It seems pretty easy. So we actually talked about that on the stream as well. I think where we're going to try to get illegitimate Emmy awards, which I'm very excited about the possibility of that. We're going to get into games here in a second, but first you get more from Mike and me by joining the Discord at GameMess.net. If you want to ask a question, you could drop a super chat during the show right now live on YouTube. We will read all of those 100%. You can also communicate with us for free eventually. I still haven't set this email up. I got everything else taken care of. This is the last thing on my checklist. But it should be games@GameMess.net once that happens. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. We are on Spotify. We're on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you're listening. It helps people find the show. And if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. That really helps when we're live and later when people are watching the VOD. Let's see. Thank you to our mods who are fantastic and keep our community really just kind of really pristine, a really great place to hang out. We owe a lot to them. Come check out the Discord. So find out for yourself. And you can support the show by going to patreon.com/GameMess. That gets you access to the private channels inside the Discord, access to the monthly Q&A, and to our monthly Jeopardy game. You can also get in there by hitting the join button here on YouTube, or if you subscribe to my Twitch channel, you also get in there. Mike, we got a lot of big topics. I figure maybe we should just hop into them. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get going.
God of War Ragnarok gets its release date, while Forspoken gets delayed. So one game probably moving out of the way for the other, and probably because it needs a little bit more of a delay. But we'll start with God of War Ragnarok here. November 9th, big holiday game for Sony. Probably one of the biggest games releases of the year overall. How are you feeling about this? Were you ever in doubt that this game was going to make it this year?
No, the only reason I was ever in doubt, Geoff, was because I was feeling really certain that that Horizon wasn't going to get delayed last year, and then it did. So I began to lose faith in myself. But No, I always felt pretty good about this. There were a lot of people who were just like, oh, obviously it's getting delayed, just because we have seen so many game delays. Right at when Starfield got delayed, it seemed like there was a lot of people just like, well, God of War is obviously going to get delayed now too, as if those two things had to be related to each other in some way.
Right, absolutely. So I see this. I'm like, okay, they were probably planning for the second half of this year this entire time, ever since the last delay. They made that. It seems November might be a little bit late from like what we were hearing before. They were maybe eyeing September, but a little bit extra time, and it's not going to hurt to have a big game for the holidays. How are you feeling about PlayStation's upcoming slate overall? Forspoken did get moved out. It did get delayed to next year, but to January, so it's not like a big move.
I mean, it really should be moved out of the way of this. It is such a smaller deal, it feels like right now. I mean, Forspoken kind of feels like a game where all like, maybe that'll come out and be interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We still don't really, even though we've seen it a few times now, I still don't really quite have a full grasp on it. So it's almost like this curiosity right now. And it definitely does feel like it did just move, basically get out of the way. I'm sure they're happy to have the development time, but they even said in the announcement, like, this is a strategic decision or something like that.
Yeah, they said when talking with our like strategic partners and stuff like that, obviously that one of those partners being Sony, the company that makes God of War Ragnarok. So I think to a certain extent, like Sony gave them the green light at the very least, or maybe even suggested, hey, maybe you should move it out of the way of God of War Ragnarok. The thing is, it's like, well, wasn't Ragnarok always coming this year? Why? Like, what's the deal here? Why wouldn't they have known this till the last minute? So I bet a big part of this, they also just need more time on Forspoken, right?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. But I mean, God of War is definitely going to set up PlayStation pretty much for the rest of the year, right? Like the third party stuff will kind of do the rest of the work there. They're going to be fine now. I mean, it's funny, but at this point, like just having a big AAA game for fall kind of seems like a big deal now because it doesn't happen all the time anymore.
Right. It's especially for Sony, who is like not shy about putting their biggest games out in the first half of the year a lot of times, to like sort of no detrimental effect. And as it doesn't seem to hurt any sales, doesn't seem to make people less excited about the games, doesn't seem to hurt anything. But still, there's something about putting out a game in November to me that feels like an event. And that's just probably the old man who grew up in a world where, a game coming out in November was an event. And then sort of at a certain point, it just became, well, Call of Duty comes out in November, and that's the event. And I'm like, okay, maybe the magic got rubbed off during that. I don't know, but something like God of War doesn't feel like it can get much bigger than God of War Ragnarok in November for PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5 also is just kind of, this feels like the last real big game that will be PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. And this will be sort of the thing that gives them runway into the next part of this, the next phase of this generation, where it's like, okay, now everything's PlayStation 5 specific, and games like God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man Miles Morales and what was the other, Horizon Forbidden West, these ones will continue to sell as people transition from 4 to 5. And the people that didn't pick up on 4 will pick it up on 5 now, but they got a huge amount of sales because they were on both. And now we have a good back catalog to sort of rely on as people begin switching to PlayStation 5 in droves at this point, because there should be a lot more of those consoles on the market as we get into this holiday and beyond. So
absolutely.
Is there anything else that you want from Sony right now? They're doing their PlayStation Plus, they're doing their higher tiers. Is there anything you want from that stuff to like kind of keep you coming back to your PlayStation 5?
I wish that the classic offerings were a lot better. I barely even really touched like I was like excited for that. Then it came out and I kind of looked at it once. I was like, yeah, this is okay. And they haven't even really talked about like adding another wave of stuff to that. So that's a little bit about. But otherwise, I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to the Final Fantasy stuff right now, Geoff. But like next year, for me, my PlayStation, that's gonna be all Final Fantasy 16 and then Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to when it comes to me and my PlayStation 5.
Right. It seems like they have several big pillars to like look forward to from the end of this year and like well into like 2024 at that point, right? Because the Final Fantasy Rebirth is going to be right there at the very end of 2023, the beginning part of 2024. So it's like whatever they fill it in with in between will probably be like, icing on the cake. They are supposed to update PlayStation Plus. I can never remember the middle tier, but Premium and Extra or whatever. And they're going to update it with like new content for the classics and for all the extra games you get through Extra. I really hope that they like put down at least around like 9-10 classic games. I just don't know if I should get my hopes up for that or if it's going to be much more of a drip feed. What do you think?
Yeah, 9-10 classic games are just one Ridge Racer Type 4, and I'll be happy.
Fair enough. Absolutely. Lots of other news happening this week, including a new Nintendo Switch announced. It's just kind of right. Just not the one everyone was thinking of. They announced a Switch OLED model, Splatoon 3 edition. It looks cool. It looks nice. I'm not going to get it, but it looks nice.
Yeah, aside from the giant piss stain, it looks pretty good. Like, why isn't that just orange or green or some other color?
It's like neon yellow, right? It's like neon piss yellow.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, Geoff, I was like wishy-washy, even though in my heart, all of last Nintendo, they just wanted to say, no, there's no Switch Lite even OLED, let alone a Switch Pro. I'm going back to that now. There's nothing coming this year.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. It's like, they were delisting videos and they got people thinking something's going to happen. So now it's like, oh, well, is this the something? So then there's definitely not a Switch Pro. And so, I mean, I think your position is the safe position here where, why get your hopes up? We've gotten our hopes up several times at this point before for an announcement. And every time they announce something else or nothing at all. And the something else is almost invariably really disappointing compared to the imaginations that we've the things we created in our head of this version of the Switch that would be this Pro model that would make sense. But even at this point, I asked on for Morning Mess this morning yesterday if a Switch Pro came out this year or you had to like wait for a Switch 2 in 2024, like which would you want? And 80% of people were saying they'd rather just have a Switch 2 a couple years from now. And
it's too late. It's too late for a Pro.
It does feel too late, but the problem is just like this stuff begins lining up again. The Switch OLED Splatoon 3 edition, that was leaked alongside them also releasing a Switch Pro here pretty soon. The person that leaked the Splatoon 3 model said a Switch Pro is also happening. Oh, so it's like yet another reason to like begin the cycle anew. I don't know. I kind of feel like something about Nintendo saying that we are in the middle of this life cycle. I don't think that's just them saying we are going to be supporting Switch games for 10 years or something like that. I think that they're pretty serious about that. And so I've gone back and forth, but right now I think I'm leaning towards a Switch Pro.
Oh, no.
Switch. Yeah.
Oh, God. No, jeez.
It's disgusting. I know, but this is where I'm at.
Because it means that like in 3 years, we're going to be getting Switch games that still like have to run on this like underpowered.
I'm not saying it's a good idea.
Mobile chip running like system that came out in 2017 or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, I would say that.
J. Arthur's saying the person who said the thing it's iPad has walked back on the Pro thing, and he's using the line you liked that it was more speculation. So I'm giving you a chance now, Geoff, to walk back from the cliff there.
Wonderful.
Just say it. Okay, just say it again. Just say fuck the Switch Pro.
I'm glad because I'm sure they just got a game of telephoned, but okay, that's something of relief. It was a little bit. It was speculation, but it's like. They were saying like they saw a new Switch model that had the Switch on the back, and they said it was separate. Whatever. I will be happy if it's just speculation because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You put out a Switch Pro, even if it comes out later this year, like that, like so. We were saying it's too late, but if you rush it out and get it out this holiday, you kind of have to give it a couple of years, right? So at least 2 full years of a Pro, and then that means what holiday 2024 before the earliest before you could do something. I suppose, but that feels really quick to put out a Pro model and then cut off its legs by putting on a Switch 2 successor. So I don't know. It's hard to imagine a world where that happens. Let's see. E3 is coming back next year as a ReedPop event. ReedPop, of course, the company that puts on PAX and New York Comic Con and Star Wars Celebration. So they said they are going to try to keep the things that worked for E3 and then change the things that didn't. Mike, where are you at with this?
I mean, we were speculating about this back when we were talking about E3 actually coming back and what that was going to look like, and if somebody else, maybe the PAX people, were going to run it.
Yeah,
and here we are. That's what's happening. I mean, look, it makes some sense, Geoff. I mean, we said that the ESA just can't run the show. It wasn't really working, and a PAX direction probably is kind of where this needs to go. It's gone already from being a pure industry event, and it's never going back to that. So maybe it should embrace kind of becoming the San Diego Comic-Con of video games, right? Becoming that really big showpiece with a lot of fans. And yes, there will be press there also, but it's going to be even more of a kind of indoor video game theme park than ever. And I think that'll be fine because the industry will still rally around that. They'll still like line up all their big digital showcases or on stage events that they want to have before that and talk about their games, and then the public's going to play them right after that. So I don't really have a problem with it, Geoff. I think some people might wince because, again, E3 might become even more of a spectacle and more of a consumer thing. I told you before, I don't actually mind that stuff, being the theme park guy that I am. Give me the video game theme park. That's okay. But I don't know. How are you feeling?
I think I'm mostly feeling like this is the only possible solution for an E3, and there is demand for E3 in that people get excited at the term. I won't stop using it because I think it's what people mean when they talk about a summer games event. And when they want to show up for something, the thing they want to show up for is what they imagine E3 to be in their head. And so if you have something like that has this cachet, well, you need to do something with it. But the ESA is completely incompetent in putting on events. And frankly, putting on events these days, if it's not for like ESA's business model was, we will rent a space in Los Angeles and then we're going to sell spaces on that floor for a fuck ton of money. And the rest is going to take care of itself because we have so much money. We can just throw the money at the problems. In a world where these companies are like, fuck you, we do not want to pay that huge bill anymore to come rent this space. We could reach these people in a million other ways. Well, now you have to figure out what is a future event. And a future, like an event that makes sense today is complicated, has all these moving parts, has like all these different incentive structures, and you need a company that knows how to put on those events to do that. Now, ReedPop, you
need paid attendees is what you
yes, and you need paid attendees, and you need to know how to make sure that those paid attendees feel like they are getting their money's worth and feel good about spending money on all these other things. And E3 just never had any of that stuff. So, I think that if they put on an event and they give us like a couple of like just 2 business days and let it just be that E3, and then maybe for the weekend you open it up to everybody else and let it be a typical PAX with, panels and stuff like that. And you keep most of the booths around so that people can attend that stuff. I mean, I think it can work, and I'm okay with it. And I'll probably still go because it'll probably still make a lot of sense. There will be companies wanting to show off their stuff around that time of year. So I think this works for me. It's going to have its own headaches, and whatever. E3 always had headaches. We'll figure that out, right?
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, yeah, it can only ever be so smooth because there's going to be probably a lot more people who want to go who can. It's going to be crowded. It's going to be loud. There's going to be security choke points. Like that stuff is just going to happen, and they can alleviate it to some extent. I don't know how you completely solve those problems, especially if you want to keep it in the Los Angeles Convention Center.
Yeah, did they say it's staying in Los Angeles?
I was just wondering that too, and I was afraid to say because I'm not sure, but I don't think they've said it. So maybe they will. I mean,
I think it's notice. Like if they did not say it, like we'll look into this. I'll look this up in a second. But if they didn't say that, that's noteworthy. Because I don't think this happens. If it's happening in the LA Convention Center, they mention that during this press tour thing. So
and I used to be pretty hardline, like it's not E3 without the LA Convention Center. But now that I've gone a bunch of times, I'm like I don't want to go to the LA Convention Center anymore.
I'm like just do it in a massive cheap space. So let's go to Las Vegas. Yeah, let's just go to Vegas. Whatever.
What's great about Vegas, at least, is you fly to Vegas, you're right there by where everything is. So you don't have to take
cheap as hell.
It's cheaper. Let's do it in Vegas, and then there's actually fun things to do. You can walk to afterwards too.
And it's like just by making it more travel friendly, like compared to Los Angeles. Like I had to fly into fucking Burbank because it's like the only thing that made sense for me when I was going to LA. And it's like, the Burbank airport. I'm like, it's cute. You get off on the tarmac and everything, and you get to walk across and stuff. But it's like, no, let's go to a place that's like meant to have these huge gatherings so that people can come from all over the world. And I think there's a better chance of like getting a lot of developers from like Japan and other places if it's just fly to Vegas, like you were going to anyhow for your vacation. So
right. I mean, if you're flying to LA, you're going to be able to fly to Vegas. Plus, then Jeff and Mikey could take Vegas, baby. Bet of the year.
Some content right there. Premium only content.
We'll go to Treasure Island and we'll ask all the pirates there if they do crimes.
Jeremy G. Geoff Scrub the Clown said E3 was dead. Even made a shirt on its grave. Big whip by
Big
Scrub.
Whip by Jeff Lie. You lie.
I love that.
You sold shirts and lied.
That's very good. E3 totally dead though. This is not E3 anymore. I wrote on Twitter that it's this is the theme park you build on E3's grave. Like when you go to Elvis's house, when you go to
Graceland.
Graceland, yes. It's just we're E3 Graceland from now on. It's never going to be what it was. It was never going to be what it was whether ReedPop was taking it over or whatever. E3 had died. And I'm not like saying, oh, it could never return. Even then, I knew this was probably going to happen. I had been hearing these rumors about ReedPop for a while. Like Brian Crescente reported on it in 2019 that they were talking about it way back then. So this is kind of the inevitable conclusion to the E3 saga. I think that as long as we keep having something called E3, we can keep doing our thing in the periphery around the side of it. And that's a good thing for me. I really like that. Again, a lot of people pay attention during that time of the year and makes doing this job a lot more fun.
Do you think Geoff Keighley like doubles down on making Summer Game Fest like really a press focus kind of thing again?
Yes. So Geoff Keighley tweeted immediately that he's like, I said earlier this month that we will be doing Summer Game Fest again next year, and it'll have a digital event and an in-person event. And so he's already like, doubling down on going big and making sure that like he's going to have his own audience of developers and publishers that want to work with him rather than with the ESA or even ReedPop. So I think he's going to double down on trying to like turn that little Key 3, into something slightly bigger and make it like so he could sell more, activations and stuff like that.
Get activated.
He's going to activate the fuck out of people. Absolutely. So I expect that to be his plan, and they're already going at it. And these things can exist side by side and sort of even like pretty close to each other. Geoff Keighley might even be the one doing something in LA while, ReedPop might take it elsewhere. So we'll see. Jeff lied. The LA convention center died. Thank you, Beef. All right. Skull&Bones is coming out on November 8th. Mike, what is going on with Skull&Bones?
Skull&Bones had its re-reveal today. Geoff,
right.
Yes, the big pirate game by Ubisoft. It is real. It has a release date. We got a pretty good look at gameplay now, and it almost kind of looks a decent amount like that original promise. Still, like you're just you're doing that kind of ship stuff from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It takes place in the Indian Ocean area, and you start with a small ship, and you kind of go around. You plunder other ships. You can hunt animals. You can go and siege towns and hunt for treasure. And all that stuff you do in this open world, which gets connected online. And the game kind of wants you to team up with people to do all of this stuff. You can also opt into PvP servers where you can be attacked by other players or you can attack them. On foot stuff it seems pretty limited to just settlements. So it's like, there's certain towns you can go into and you go into them. And that's where you can buy upgrades and things like that. Mostly ship-based stuff here. So, this game's been taking a while. It seems like it took a lot of weird turns during development. Seems like they wanted it to be even more live servicey and even more almost PvP focused at certain points in development, and maybe they kind of brought it back around a little bit here. So it's real. November 8th. That sure is close to that November 9th release date for God of War Ragnarok, though, huh? About as close as you can get without being the same day.
Yeah, I mean it's right on top of each other, and it's. Is it worse if it's, this game comes out and then the next day God of War is there? Or is it worse if God of War is out and then the next day this game comes out? I think this is probably slightly better than coming out. It's
probably slightly better to get that one day in on them, I guess. Yeah.
Right. But it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. We've been saying for a while now, it feels like they're just shipping this game out to die. And
shipping.
Yes. And it's just going to sink. Am I right?
I don't know. It's like, I get that, and development has been so tumultuous that...
You got it right there.
You're right, yeah. Like, you want to be skeptical. But, Jeff, I still liked all that ship stuff in Assassin's Creed Black Flag a lot.
I did too.
And that's still what this game mostly is. Mm-hmm. So, it seems like it just fundamentally has a decent foundation, and it could be, strong. Part of me is almost worried how much they're pushing the co-op stuff. I'd almost rather just exist as a pirate in like an online world where there are other pirates doing their thing. Right. Fine. I don't necessarily need to be like, well, I should team up with 3 other random pirates to do this activity and get matchmaked and all that stuff, right? Like, I almost want it to be even less like Sea of Thieves as possible, right? Like, Sea of Thieves is fun. That's a game I am only ever going to play with my friends. I'm never going to think about playing the game by myself or playing it with strangers.
Yes. I think I will probably give this thing a try. That's where I'm at with it. Like, once it's out, I'll give it a try. I'm not going to be counting down the days. I'm not going to be trying to like get a bunch of friends together to play. I'm like, I'll dip my toe in, see what it's like, and then depending on like my reaction, like if I fall in love with it, maybe I'll try to do the thing where let's get everyone together and something. But for the most part, I'm just going to I'm probably just going to wait and see if there's any buzz around it at all once it starts coming out. Ubisoft feels like it needs to just get this off its books. I don't know if that's the case, but it's like it's at the same time, it could just be a fine game. The people working on it probably were trying to put together something good. And you're right. The underlying Assassin's Creed like sailboat stuff is just a really good concept on its own. There is no real reason why that couldn't just be a fun thing in a slightly bigger sandbox or whatever. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that wishes they actually just made like a single player open world pirate game, even though they make a zillion just single player open world games already. Yeah. That was basically just Black Flag without the Assassin's Creed stuff. And that's kind of what this is, but there is a lot more of that online stuff here. And I just hope it doesn't get too much in the way of things.
You remember when every Ubisoft trailer at the beginning of last generation opened with, or not go, they closed with, it's like they would do, they're like, okay, here's the game, here's a person going through a world,
and then it would zoom out.
Yes, and they would talk to each other, and they're like, oh, there's other people in this place. Oh, they're playing together, 4 players, and then it would zoom out, and you'd be like, oh, there's 4 players, and then there's another 4 players, and another 4 players. Oh my god!
Oh my god! This game has an online shared world. What? It's 2020. I can't believe we can do this.
And so this almost feels like it's a product of that era a little bit.
A little bit. Well, but hey, look, now this game's coming out. They can move on to one of their other troubled projects like Beyond Good and Evil 2 or the Prince of Persia remake.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh, Ubisoft. Okay, people are saying that the game that it is supposed to take place in L.A. I don't know if
E3 or E3 or the pirate game.
Oh, E3, yes, sorry. Will make its long-awaited return to the Los Angeles Convention Center. So yes,
okay. All right,
that's in the first line of the PR blast.
Well, aren't we smarties?
Yep, well, shit.
Look, I haven't been online all day. This isn't my fault. That's the fault of the number 3 games journalist, Geoff Grubb.
I did a Neon White stream and the voicemail dump truck since I did my news show, so I don't remember any of these details. It all goes in and goes right back out. That's why I recorded.
How did that Neon White stream go for you?
Anyhow, let's see. Guardians of the Galaxy writer gets a job working on Mass Effect. I put this on here because I find this very encouraging. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't played Guardians of the Galaxy yet. It's still getting buried in that pile of shame, but maybe I have to dig it up. Ooh, is that on Steam? Can I play Guardians of the Galaxy on my Steam Deck?
Ooh, you should play that on your Steam Deck. You should play the hell out of that's going to be a perfect Steam Deck game.
That sounds like a great Steam Deck
game. It's like this Mass Effect Light almost, where you're making decisions and stories. And you get to spend time with those characters up close and intimate. Yeah, play it on your Steam Deck. I've almost thought about replaying it specifically on my Steam Deck. So
it's coming in tomorrow, by the way.
Ooh, okay. Man, so Friday, so it's not like you have to worry about that whole weird thing of like, oh, it's Saturday. If it gets delayed, it'll be on a Sunday. And are they even going to deliver it? No, next week. Yeah.
But yeah, part of what made Mass Effect stand out at first was that the writing was good, and it started diving even by 3, and then Andromeda was by all counts just a mess. So getting a really strong writer right now who's just coming off of a project that is being praised primarily for its writing, that's a really good get.
It's a smart move. The things that I think it's Mary DeMarle, I think is the name of the writer. The things that she's good at, characterization, obviously a very important thing for a BioWare RPG, but just like crafting this overall situation that these characters find themselves in, and then having it relate to each character on an individual level. Like that's what Guardians of the Galaxy did really well. That's the kind of things that BioWare games really thrive on. So yeah. And just it's Guardians of the Galaxy is one of these few games that I found myself thinking of weeks, months later, where I'm like, man, that game, it talked about some stuff, and it's like it touched on a lot of themes that is pretty prevalent in a lot of other media and a lot of other games, and yet it still did it in its own way, and kind of just it said it with a strong voice, so it stands out from the crowd. Is kind of where I'm at with that game. So just really happy for this. I would love Mass Effect to return to its original splendor. This is a chance to do so. Mike, that's what I had for the big topics of the week. We can get into super chats, and then I have some questions from the Discord. Why don't we do the super chats first, though?
Yeah, fantastic. I've got a few here. If you guys want to send more in, we will read them either now or by the end of the show for sure. If you all are watching, please do give us a thumbs up. It helps when people find a show, and we appreciate that. First off here from Pani Puri. With the success of Nintendo Switch, do you think it's possible for Sony and Microsoft to have their next home console be a hybrid console? Geoff, we talked about this with Sony a bit ago, where I had a hard time maybe seeing the next one, maybe the next one, or at the very least, like I still think they would want to make a home box, but maybe they could start making versions of it, like it's that would be the sort of portable hybrid. Microsoft though is weird because they're very much into cloud gaming right now, and their answer, if you ask them about this, would be, well, you have a phone, and that's your portable Xbox right there.
Yep.
And I know I don't think that's the same. I think a lot of people don't think the same, but that's kind of their philosophy right now.
Yeah, I think there's in a post Steam Deck world, I think the Switch is one thing, but I think there's a sense that like when Nintendo does it, you could say, well, that's Nintendo, and of course their thing is succeeding. Now, of course, their things don't always succeed, but it's easy to say that when you see something like they're taking off and being the number one selling console every month in the United States and Japan. When a company like Steam comes along and basically eats your lunch that you didn't even think was real, like the Steam Deck essentially is like what a Sony or Microsoft modern handheld console should be. When Valve comes along and does that and just like takes over, it's like, oh, okay, we obviously should have done that and we screwed up by not doing it. Now they have a lot of reasons for not wanting to do it because their architecture that they were using, they want to make sure that the games they put out on their home console can run on the handheld. And it's not like a PC where like they're doing these big scalable things. They want to have one SKU that just runs on all their consoles. And so introducing a handheld would introduce some complexity that they don't want to deal with. But by the time we get to the next round of consoles, mobile chips and computer-based chips will be so efficient and so powerful that it might just make sense to make a hybrid. So I think there's a strong possibility.
Interesting. Tasty Switch Cartridge says, have you talked about how Yuji Naka had bigger plans before he was removed? There would have been a wonder world of balance and a wonder world of ruin. I don't know specifically what this is. Whatever Yuji Naka's plans are, they scare me, and I don't know if I need to know anymore about the...
I've learned I'm going to stay out of Yuji Naka's way because I fear him.
I bet he also had a plan that Ball and Wonder World would be good.
Yeah.
So sometimes plans don't go according to plan.
We all have a plan until we get punched in the mouth with Bell in Wonderworld.
That's right.
This is the thing. I think he got removed about 6 months before the game came out. Maybe he was like aiming to work on the game longer and push it out, but sometimes the games aren't going to be good, no matter like what the plan was, and this seemed like that case.
Dream Eater says, got the final 3 amiibos, completing my Rise/Stories/Sunbreak collection. Loving the expansion, and Mike needs to play Stories 2 still. It is very good. I'll be honest, I'm probably never going to play Stories 2. There's a lot of JRPGs in my backlog, and I have the Monster Hunter like JRPG spinoff relatively low on the list. I do want to play Sunbreak though. I'm just kind of like, I'm like a deer in the headlights because I don't want to have to restart, but I also want to play it on PC, and I can't have it both ways, right? So I might just have to, right. So I just have to kind of bite the bullet, I think. But it's also a lot of other things I'm playing right now, like Neon White and Final Fantasy 14 still.
It's a good game.
It is.
I wish I was good at it.
I'll talk about my experience starting that later on. Geoff, actually, I wanted to ask you what time in Neon White are you the most proud of? Would you say what level?
Well, it was. What was the level that we were playing?
Cascade.
Cascade. It was Cascade. I'm sure I'm still number one. If I were to go check there, I'm sure I'm still number one, right?
Yeah. Don't even bother looking. Don't worry about that.
I will get back in there and I will do something about what you've done here, Minotti.
We'll see. I've been playing the game for 3 days now. I'm already beating your times whenever I want to.
You're in the first world. Don't even start. There's so many levels in that game. I'm gonna go back. Oh, okay, this is it. This is my new thing.
Wow, I've really rustled some grubby feathers here
because I did so poorly today. I'm like, I think the magic is broken. I don't know.
You're
if I like this
You're
game
done.
Anymore. And I'm like, now you start talking. I'm like, shit. I'm going back in.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I'm like Dan Riker just taking the collateral damage, not even in my sights, but just getting demolished on my way towards toppling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically you're all worse than me, and I'm glad that there's a numerical value that indicates that now.
We'll see about it. I need to just beat that game so we can get that one big score, because that's how I'll actually measure this. Because there's a global score for all the levels.
Global score, baby.
Yeah. So I'm like, we'll just deal with that. That's how we'll finish this finally.
Yeah, I think I'm in World 3 now. Like they're like 8 or 9 or something. Gosh, that's a lot. But I even don't normally do the thing that like where I stop playing them in game just to get these times. But I started doing that very quickly because I would immediately see, oh, I'm not that far from Geoff at this level already. Let's just beat him here and now. That'll be fun.
There's some, especially in World 3, that it sucked. That was the thing about the thing that like in Neon White today. Almost all the levels, like 2 of the levels I was pretty familiar with, and then the rest are like the ones that kind of glazed over, like just trying to get to the end of a chapter. And so I'm like, oh no, I got fucked. So yeah, there's a couple, especially in World 3, that I think I just got like the silver on or something like that. So I need to go back and get the ace.
Calvin Atkinson says, everyone was so sure that God of War release date was going to be announced last Thursday. Is it possible that was the plan, but Sony moved it because of the online discourse and the leaks? I don't think Sony would move it for that, Geoff. I think they moved it for whatever reason, maybe because their CG trailer wasn't like done rendering or something.
I think it was like, I think there was word that they moved it because of real world news, shootings, and the Supreme Court and stuff like that. So I think they just wanted a small little space between that stuff. And like they saw like, oh, if we just wait till right after the holiday weekend, that's a pretty big gap. So I think that's what they did.
Right. It backfired, unfortunately, but nobody could have foreseen how that would play out. Steven Sullivan said, would you see Nintendo porting over Woolly World, or is it stuck on Wii U forever? Geoff, that one is stuck on Wii U forever. They already made a sequel for it for Switch, and the 2 games are, in my mind, both mediocre and indistinguishable from each other, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I think that it's... I feel like if they were going to do it, they would have done it by now.
Mike Burgess says, is the beef between Key 3 and E3 really a thing? It feels all for show since Repop is coming in now. Are we headed towards a West Side Story snap battle between Repop and Keighley's people? Like, I don't think they like stay up at night thinking about how much they hate each other, Geoff. Yeah. I think they're competing, and Keighley was with E3 and started doing his own things. Maybe there's like somebody somewhere who works at the ESA had hard feelings about that, but I think they're just both trying to succeed.
Yeah, I think they feel like they're competing for some of the same like announcements or partners and things like that. So that kind of puts them head to head, but for one to succeed, the other doesn't need to fail, and I think both organizations recognize that.
Hitch asks, what's going on with Uncharted PC? Why don't they have a more sensible slate? Geoff, I'm always astounded that this actually hasn't come out yet. Apparently, they talked about this one forever ago. I don't know what's going on with it anymore.
What is it? Which one? I'm sorry, I'm
Uncharted.
Uncharted PC. Okay. Yeah, they didn't that have a date? Like, wasn't that supposed to come out?
Does it even have a date? No, I think every time this comes up, you're like, didn't that come out or / have a date? And then we look it up and it's like, no, it didn't.
It's still just 2022, right? They still just say 2022 on it. I'm gonna look it up on Steam again.
Yeah,
you're right.
We've
done this every time. It just says 2022.
Yeah, and we're like, well, that's not out yet. So I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't have a release date.
It'll be out before the end of this year. They will get it out this year, but whatever.
Chris Harden says, dear Mike Fraud Naughty, first time, last time, my trust is broken after a 90s Disney expert did not know the difference between a hyena and a dolphin. Look, you little shit. I mean, look, just because I like 90s, look, there's hyenas in Lion King, but it's not like they sounded like real hyenas. As far as I know, hyenas sound like Whoopi Goldberg.
They don't?
No, apparently not. Apparently they sound like dolphins, but if you speed them up because they're not in water anymore.
Oh, right, Star Trek 4, right, I got you.
Yeah. We have to do reverse. We have to get dolphin noises now from like underwater and speed them up so they sound like hyenas, apparently.
Then you'll all see. For yourselves.
The world's just been buzzing about hyenas ever since that announcement, though, right, Geoff?
That's right. The world is abuzz with hyenas.
Yeah. Jay Keller says, in Nintendo's mission statement, they say they want to surprise people. Do you think they do things to limit the predictability of their announcements? I mean, saying that you like to surprise people in your mission statement sounds like the kind of bullshit you could just write without ever having to be like, well, let's make sure we surprise people. I mean, of course they want people to be surprised sometimes. They make video games. I don't know if they put extra thought into it compared to most giant video game companies.
Yeah, I think that they are just usually doing what's best for themselves at any one time when it comes to when do we announce that? I really think a lot of this comes down to, bandwidth of their marketing teams, bandwidth of their events teams, and they work on one or two things at a time. And then other stuff goes, if they finish a game, they'll put it in their back pocket until the people that are going to work on that are free to work on that. And a lot of times that just means they are going to wait a long time to put out a game and make an announcement or whatever. So it's more about that sort of stuff, more just like actual basic human resources than thinking about this is our mission statement, so we got to stick to that.
Geoff, that's it for the super chats for now. If you guys want to send more super chats in, we will read them before the end of the show. But what has the Discord friendos been talking about?
Yeah, thanks for all the super chats, everybody. Getting to the Discord questions from people who have joined our Patreon or joined here on the YouTube channel. Major Arms Blazer says, after busting out my old PS4 after easily at least a year and a half, for the first time in at least a year and a half, my mentality of it has changed pretty hard. I feel the weight of the system needing a TV after putting it in hundreds of hours in my Switch. Did something like this happen to you guys after gaming a ton on the Switch? Absolutely for me, where it was very hard to go back to games, especially big, long, meaty games that required me to be stuck to my TV. I like to move around. I like to go from one spot to the other. Changing my environment enables me to stick with a game longer. So that helped a lot with the stuff on the Switch. So yeah. And I haven't, I moved here. I haven't plugged in my PS5 or my Xbox really since I moved here. I've just been on PC, Switch, and the Steam Deck.
The nostalgia / retro ability of a lot of these more recent home consoles is just kind of in this weird place, Geoff, because so many of those games are just playable either on the newer, better versions of those consoles that we have now, or on PC, or really on a Switch. So I don't why would I ever plug in my PlayStation 4 again or my Xbox One, right? They're just in a weird spot.
Bad consoles too, yeah.
But even sometimes quote unquote bad consoles could have nostalgia for. There's some Wii U nostalgia, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see it. There's a bit of Xbox 360 nostalgia now, maybe a little bit of PlayStation 3, but it's not like what PlayStation 2 nostalgia was like even during the lifespan of the PlayStation 3, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just we're in a different world with that kind of stuff, so it's it's easy to move on and just kind of put those consoles in a compartment in your brain and not think about them again. But it's in terms of just how I want to engage with games, that's not it. And they don't make them easy. They don't make it easier by offering a blazing fast user experience or something. Right. So yeah. Let's see. 1UP versus CPU. Would a Switch Lite OLED be a small LED? So it's small, small. A
small LED.
Yeah, small
boo.
LED.
A booing boo.
Boo.
And no, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
it'd be
not.
weak. Be puny. Be like the puny little Nintendo console.
You're doing? Right? Are you doing the Pump Me Up guys from Saturday Night Live?
That's how
30 goddamn years ago, Mike.
Look, you little shit.
Danger Van Leet. Hey guys, many get the impression that Skull&Bones is sent to die, especially Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is likely coming in the same month, 2 or so weeks later. Ubisoft just wants to meet contractual demands by the Singaporean government. Can't wait for any live service intended to peter out completely after 6 months or even 3 months. Yeah, I think we're going to see faster and faster cycles of games coming out like this, and if they don't immediately get an audience, yes, petering out relatively fast. I mean, I'm okay with that, right? Though, Mike, if this game comes out and I play it for a couple of weeks and I move on, well, that's what I would have done with an Assassin's Creed too. So that's fine.
Yeah,
with me.
It's enough. You see that Rockstar just announced today that they're slowing down support of Red Dead Online substantially because they're focusing on Grand Theft Auto 6, right?
Sunset.
And maybe it's better we that game almost felt like it maybe got more support than it ever needed for its online stuff.
Sean, their names are Hans and Franz, you uncultured swine.
I knew what their names were.
Mike knew, but he's talking to me because I was just the Pump Me Up guys because it's 30 years ago.
I know because they're both in Cranium Command and Epcot that was in the Wonders of Life Pavilion. Long gone now, but that's why I know.
Mike, the fact that you referenced them meant that I knew they were in Epcot. All right, you didn't have to say it.
Yes,
I knew.
That's my world frame for everything. Is how does this relate to Epcot? And the more prominent it was at Epcot, the more I know about it.
From Laoshin, hello, Mike. Oh, hey, look, I beat one, Minotti, and Geoff. Farraga in the butt, Grubb. I hope your weekend plans are good ones. Questions, Mike. Are you going to the ERP party as your main, or on your secret cat girl waifu character? Nah. Do you plan on streaming it?
No, I'll just go. Is that this weekend? I have to find out. No, I'm just gonna go. It's
coming
probably
up
gonna be
soon,
an
yeah.
absolute disaster. It's gonna be so populated and
So are you
crazy
even
and weird.
would you even be able to get in unless you already have a character on that server?
So they just implemented a data
Right.
travel thing. So
We talked about it on Game Mess Mornings. Don't you worry. I'm well aware that they just implemented the traveling from one server to another. And when you go there right now, there is a big line of people standing to block you from getting into the rest of the world. There's like this human or whatever cat girl wall that's one of my news stories on the show today. I know your internet was off, so you didn't hear this.
Can you just walk through other players in that game? That's how most MMOs work. And I feel weird that I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed like they were able to like block people from getting in or whatever. But so it's like literal gatekeeping. So if you show up, would it stop you from getting in?
Plus, also the data center isn't working. Like almost as soon as they turn it on, they turn it off because it got congested. So look, there's a very good chance I can't actually attend the thing anyways. So I don't know. It's going. I want to see it, but honestly, Geoff, if I just had to watch a YouTube video of it, that'll be satisfying enough. But also, I don't have a secret cat girl character. I made a cat or a bunny girl character once just for fun, but I don't think I got her beyond like level 3.
From Lausch and Grubb, why would making future E3 press /vendors/developers only be only? I think he's saying only for those things be a good thing. I mean, it's
wouldn't necessarily.
It's not.
I guess it'd be more like old E3 that way,
right? I don't think you need to have just have a couple of days where we could, if we're gonna do business, if we're gonna come there to do business, just let us do business just for a couple of days. 2 days, like honestly, 2 days, and maybe like a day and a half, really. But yeah, and then invite the public in. That's fine.
I don't know why. That seems like a really easy solution to it. So I don't know why we just don't do that. But
right, and it's like, why is that good? Because if you are putting on E3 and you want it to be classic E3, one of the good ways of making sure that it can attract a certain audience of developers and publishers is you can come here and actually get some business done, and we're not going to cause we're not going to have you have to deal with also a bunch of fires from, there's a million consumers out there, and they said that they believe that you are going to have a bunch of these pens on this day, and you ran out, and now you have to go deal with that. Like, that's like, yeah, deal with that in the public days after you've already gotten your business deals done. And if you just a slight partition between the two, that could be very helpful to ensure that you attract the right crowd that you want to bring in to actually make your event worth something. From Hosp, hey yo, messy boys. After God of War Ragnarok got its release date, do you think the anxiety of fans will now pass on to Breath of the Wild 2? This is the same. Like, it's always like this for Zelda, so I don't even know if I have anxiety about it.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, obviously the game may come out even later than we ever think it will.
Right.
So I mean, at least they smartly never gave an actual release date for that game, right?
Right.
Because then people be freaking out about it getting delayed even more constantly. All we know is that's not coming out this year at this moment, right?
Yeah, I think they said next year, but it's like, I mean, whatever. End of next year, whatever. I'm fine. I'm just so used to this. This is how it's been from the beginning for Zelda. I mean, Ocarina of Time got delayed a couple times, and then everything after that would just, I mean, okay, Majora's Mask came out pretty quick, but a lot of Zelda games have gotten delayed multiple times before. This is all par for course. From Turbo Sean, so Geoff, you struck E3 down, and now it's on track to becoming more powerful than you could possibly imagine. How terrified are you? Are you finally going to team up with Capital G Geoff, Wonder Twin style, to take it out once and for all? Yeah, maybe Game Mess and Game Fest need to come together.
The Mess Fest.
Yeah, the Mess Fest, and we could do the fusion dance, right? Is that what it is?
You can do the fusion dance, or you can, let's not even talk about the earrings. Yeah, you'll just do a fusion dance.
We'll just do a fusion dance. I don't need to wear earrings with Geoff Keighley.
Those are supposed to be permanent. So yeah, you'd rather do a fusion dance.
I'd rather do a fusion dance then. And then we will finally demolish E3 once and for all. I like E3. I don't want it to die. I just was noting a historical fact that it did indeed die and was buried in the ground. From Cranches McBasketball, hello Geoff and Mike. E3 is back, but will it be the same? I feel like it's just going to wind up looking like an early summer PAX with the E3 name. That is very likely to happen indeed.
I mean, sure, but if you're not going to E3 anyways, what everybody almost thinks about E3, especially the last decade of it, is those big press conferences anyways. So it really depends on your Sony, your Microsoft, Nintendo's on how much it looks like old E3 still. I mean, there was a time, Geoff, where the actual on-floor days would be really exciting because we all really cared about watching, reading all those articles and all those previews and seeing screenshots of the games, right? Over the shoulder stuff. That became much less important as time went on.
Like in chat, they're upset that I referenced anime, and they're like, and then TurboSean's like, how does Geoff know who Rock Lee is? Because I referenced Rock Lee when I was playing Neon White trying to beat your time again, and I moved my auto aim up to finally from 0.5 all the way to 1. So I was like, all right, taking off the weights like Rock Lee, and I'm not gonna explain how I know about it. I'm just gonna let TurboSean fret. Go ahead and fret, motherfucker. Let's see, from Epic Stamp World. Hey, lovers of beef. We got recent news about an acclaimed writer who has joined the team for the next Mass Effect game. Why does it feel like we know more about Mass Effect than Dragon Age, considering Mass Effect is at best a 2025 game? It's a fair question, but I think it mostly just comes down to like Mass Effect is like in a state, right? It's like in a state where you kind of need to do some damage control as you're moving ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know Dragon Age's name, right? We know things about Dragon Age. I do agree that it feels weird that we don't know more about it yet, and maybe that's coming relatively soonish. I'm not sure, but I mean, this is also hiring news, right? And that means one way you can look at this is, oh wow, they haven't written anything for the new Mass Effect game yet, right? We're just hiring a lead writer.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is like they're making moves. I think what's probably happened here is a lot of the Dragon Age moves happened at a time when they were being a little bit less transparent. And now they're like, hey, going forward, to keep people feeling pretty good about this stuff, let's just talk about these things going forward. Well, the only things they have to talk about are stuff happening with Mass Effect because those are the moves they're making still. Dragon Age is much more firmed up in terms of what that game is going to be and look like. And they're not ready to talk about those things until that game is actually, they're able to show it. So that might just be what's happening here. Dr. Turbo Sus. Hey boys, by the time God of War Ragnarok comes out, it'll be the 727th day of the console's life, with only 2 PS5 exclusives, the rest being cross-gen. This makes sense because the PS5 is hard to get, and the PS4 was a huge success. In the first 727 days of the Switch, we already had Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Xenoblade 2, Super Mario Party, and Smash as exclusive next-gen Nintendo games. Given the Switch's success, are we likely to see Nintendo maintain support for the Switch so deep into the Switch 2's life cycle? I think this is exactly the issue with when we try to figure out what they're going to do next. The Switch is so successful. What they put out next, like we know that Switch 2 is going to be backward compatible. The thing that we don't know is what is going to happen with those games, like with the original Switch and its support for games going forward. Will it immediately be cut off by most games? Will there be a small period of cross-gen? Or will Nintendo try to do a Switch Pro, basically, and just say, for the next couple of years, both of these things are getting every single game that come out for the Switch Pro? We just don't know. I think that's why this is so difficult, because of what you've laid out here. The Switch was so successful. It's still so successful, but it's also beginning to peak, and so they are looking ahead, and they're just not sure how to navigate the path forward, I think. I think they have ideas, but I think they're still kind of deciding exactly what they're going to do. From Turbo Obama. How disappointed were you guys seeing the new Switch was just a Splatoon edition? Oh, I wasn't that.
I wasn't disappointed at all.
Yeah, I wasn't
been less surprised.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting really anything from that, especially not immediately. But yeah. So I was not that disappointed. No. From Blackheart Vinyl. So Activision Studios can unionize under Microsoft. What are the odds after that happens that Bethesda Studios and even 343 and Rare, etc., say, well, we want to unionize too? Does this end with all of Xbox Game Studios unionizing? Well, I mean,
it seems like there has to be a catalyst event at these studios still. Yeah. This is still relatively new ground for the gaming industry, especially for developers.
Right. And I think, not all of those studios are in the United States. Many of them are, and many of them might likely unionize. But, developers in other countries have other labor laws on the books that kind of protect them just inherently. So they don't need unions in the same way a lot of American companies need them. So that might be less likely at those. But overall, I get what you're saying. I think there's a world where many of these studios do end up unionizing for one reason or the other. And I think Microsoft is right to just embrace that from the beginning. From Casual Dear Banana Boys, Geoff, can you ask Mike about the time he was approached by a stranger at the Disney arcade regarding Donkey Kong? Would love to hear your take on this. Mike, were you ever approached by a stranger at the Disney arcade regarding Donkey Kong?
Who asked this question? I must have told a story. Yes.
Casual.
Yes. This was weird. I was maybe 10, maybe younger, and there was an arcade by Space Mountain, and they had a Donkey Kong machine, and I was just playing it, and some adults came up. It was like, "Are you good at Donkey Kong?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess I'm good." He's like, "All right, let's see." Then he like had his key and like opened up the cabinet and like turned it to free play mode. Like, let's see what you got. I was like, "I'm okay," and like I didn't do very good. I was very nervous. And like the guy seemed to be getting like frustrated with me, like I lied to him, and then, like he kind of just stared me down, and, like watched me play for a while, then like kind of eventually just left. And it just was a really weird moment. I still have no idea what the hell that was about.
I mean, clearly a time traveler looking for the Donkey Kong player to like defeat the aliens in a game of Donkey Kong.
Right. It was a Last Star. It was a Last Star fighter thing. Was the last Star?
The Last Starfighter? No, that sounds right.
That sounds right. I don't know why I sounded wrong. I was like, yes, the Last Starfighter, but I failed. I failed the test. So now the giant monkey that got loose will not be stopped by me.
And millions of people died because of Mike's failure.
Yeah,
At least no one failing in Neon White ever killed anybody. All right. From Beefhammer. From Napper. Is Nintendo going to save money if they combine the light and OLED models? What do you mean?
Combine? No, they're not gonna. If they make a light OLED, they are not going to stop selling the regular OLED.
Oh yeah. I think they're not going to stop selling the regular light or the regular Switch even. I think I mean, they probably won't be as plentiful, but they probably will keep selling all of them. From Beefhammer, Aloha Chief Beef Officer and Chief Cheddar Officer. Important question this week. Will we ever get an event starring a sweaty Jim Ryan yelling, developers, developers, developers at a Sony press conference, or are we doomed to stay in the worst timeline? I think we're doomed.
I guess we're stuck here.
We're stuck here. I mean, listen, now here's a pretty good timeline because we got to see Steve Ballmer do that. Now, Steve Ballmer and Jim Ryan doing it together on the same stage as like some sort of competition for who could say developers harder. That is the true best timeline.
And they will, in fact, use the earrings to combine into one person because they want it to be permanent.
Permanent, absolutely. What would their name be? Let's see, Steve Ryan.
I was thinking about that with you and Geoff Keighley because I laughed to myself because it would just be Geoff, but like Jeoff.
Let's see, from Peachin. Hey, Messies. What is the game that has eluded you the most? A game you always wanted to play but gets overshadowed by other games. For me, it's Earthbound. Bought it on 3DS, Wii U, and never played it. Earthbound's a good answer for me here as well.
I have played Earthbound. I just never beat it. I never, get very far into it. Gosh, what's... I'm trying to think here. There's Dragon Force for the Saturn is one, which is that RPG with like the really big armies fighting each other. Like I had a Saturn, but I never had it. I've never tried like downloading it as a ROM or anything. I always watch people playing it. It looks really cool, and everyone who plays it loves it. So I will say Dragon Force. Oh, hi, Sophia. My niece is watching. Hi, Sophia. How's it going?
Sophia.
Geoff, no more bad words.
I'm on it. Don't worry. Dude also says, Geoff, just FYI, the Potera earrings aren't permanent anymore. And then he made a sad smirky face.
What the heck is this? They changed the lore on me. Wow. I mean, to be clear, they weren't very permanent already because like Vegeta and Goku used them and then they went inside Boo's stomach and immediately became like normal again. So
just like
a cop out. It was the cop out of all cop outs.
I'm going to keep going here. Let's see. Bench, JC. Hey, men, I asked the question in the Discord earlier, but wanted to ask it to y'all. What's one game you really want to dive headfirst into, but just can't because a lack of time?
Monster Hunter Sunbreak is a good one. Hey, look, speaking of Sophia, she drew this. She drew her own picture that AJ made of me of our characters in Final Fantasy 14, and now I'm that guy, and I'm going to make you all look at it because it's very good. Thank you, Sophia. I like this picture a lot.
Good job, Sophia. That's really great, actually.
Yeah,
it is good.
I liked getting this.
I don't know. There's a lot of games for me, but probably something like Mike says I wouldn't like I'm sure he's right because all the time, but I would love to try something like a Final Fantasy 14 or a World of Warcraft, but the time commitment just scares me off, so I don't even try.
Don't worry. Once the kids are in like actual school, Geoff, and they don't like hanging out with you anymore, I'll find an MMO for you to try.
Okay, perfect. Yes, it's gonna be a couple more years, but we'll get there. Let's see. Where am I at? Let's see with Dugan. Hello, Deciders. What was your take on Key 3, Fake E3 / The Mess now that we have cleared June? Overwhelming, underwhelming, or just slightly whelming? How does this impact the future of Gamer Christmas? So they asked that on the 4th, so the news wasn't announced yet. Obviously, now we got E3 back, but I think this year was just kind of. I think it was the best it could have been for what it was, for what the games that were coming out. Like, it was never going to be a great year for an E3 for game announcements, just based on where a lot of companies are. But I will say we got through it, and I don't remember any game that made me stand up and shout now.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's been kind of rough for you in general in terms of like you getting that game. I kind of had that a bit with Return to Monkey Island, at least, and then
Final Fantasy.
I had Final Fantasy 16, so it's been a lucky time for Jeffy. I thought it was fine. It was kind of like from a couple years ago where it felt too spread out again. I wished it was a bit more condensed than it was, and there were some like underwhelming things, like the actual Game Fest presentation was a little like underwhelming. Basically, Geoff, right now the big thing I remember from that is The Rock telling me to enjoy my gaming. So,
kind of a shame, huh? Yeah,
kind of a shame there,
and also kind of the best thing that could have happened because it's actually something I remember.
You know what? It almost feels like the best events from that were like the Final Fantasy 7 event itself was surprisingly good, and then Capcom had that good event. They seems like somehow Capcom and Square Enix were the winners of fake.
Yeah,
E3.
pretty strange. Yeah, that's pretty wild. From Adrian586, do you think PlayStation is going to have trouble making deals for the new PS Plus? I could see a world where the big boy publishers, the EAs, the Ubisofts, etc., take the guaranteed Game Pass money and then take their chances with sales on PlayStation. I mean, I don't think they're going to have too much trouble making. I mean, they'll find some partners for PS Plus like they have in the past. I don't think they're going to they're not going to be able to convince anyone that's not already convinced by Game Pass. I think if you're convinced by Game Pass, maybe, I mean, among these big boys that you're talking about, EA, Ubisoft, I think many of them would probably take the guaranteed Game Pass money, yes, and then they will come to PlayStation. And if PlayStation is right there ready to give a comparable deal, they'll do PlayStation deals after that, but it's not going to be every game. Most games are probably just going to go to PlayStation Raw.
PlayStation Raw. That's the next tier. PlayStation Raw.
Rocky Nemo. Hey, Beefy Boys. Have you ever managed to completely avoid marketing and trailers for a game you're excited for? I'm going to try with God of War Ragnarok. Thanks. No, and I don't have any interest in trying to do that. Marketing trailers has never ruined anything for me ever.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily worried about getting spoiled. There's a point where I actually just don't really care about seeing any more of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited for God of War Ragnarok just fine. I have no interest in seeing, like, I heard the new trailer with some CG thing. I was like, I don't even need to watch that. Who cares?
Yep. I mean, if you see the picture of the big wolf, you're good. You're set. That's all you need to see. Mike, I'm all caught up on questions from the Discord, I believe. Why don't we check in on any more super chats?
Yeah, we got a couple more here from King of Games 405. Hello. My question is, do you think Rockstar has been working on anything besides GTA 6 for the last few years? I mean, aside from content for GTA Online and some stuff for Red Dead Online, no. I think it's been all... I mean, there were rumors that they were working on Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead Redemption remasters, or at least kind of, like, who knows who they're going to have actually make those. And the rumor is that those got shelved after the poor reception of the trilogy. But I imagine the vast majority of their focus right now is on Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they are. I think that's why they're sunsetting Red Dead Redemption 2 to focus more people on Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah.
Then Jared Helder asks, what is the best Mario Strikers game? I mean, Geoff, we're not really, as much as we've been kind of shouting about this franchise, we're not big experts on it. I never even played the Wii game.
I never played the Wii one either, but I've played quite a bit of the GameCube one now. Probably like, a total of, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but for a sports game without a campaign, like 10, 15 hours of that game is quite a bit.
That's a lot, actually.
Yeah, I've been enjoying, because I was playing some of it, especially when I first got the Steam Deck. I played a couple hours of it more on top of all that stuff. I think that the best one is probably the Switch one still. It understands like what it needs to be, and then there's a really good back and forth combative element to it once you get to a certain level. Now that you have to like take a couple of games, you got to really learn it, and but I think the 1-on-1 and 2v2 matches you can have in that are really good. I hope that they keep expanding that game in terms of offering a 4v4 mode, but even before that, it's really solid. I really like it, and it's got the online multiplayer and stuff like that, so that just kind of helps as well.
All right, Geoff, we are caught up on super chats.
Mike, Neon White's a good game.
It is very good. I finally started it, and I immediately was getting the appeal of it. We had so much fun doing that Astrobot thing, and it was fun because it like let us do miniature speed runs. This is even more miniature speed runs.
Yes,
it's great, and it's much more about being fast also. So you do feel fast. And it's fun just going through those levels the first time, but then there's multiple layers to it. So like first you just want to beat it, then you kind of do I'm going to explore the level a little bit to find the present, and then I'm going to go a little bit faster. And the game kind of gives you one shortcut for free, which is fun. And then from there, your goal can be getting the red developer time, or just trying to beat the people on your friends list. And man, yeah, that stuff just always works when it's built around a game with good movement. And this game has very good movement.
Yeah, it feels really good. It's the kind of thing where once you get dialed in, and you're gonna try a lot on your own. But if you like, okay, I'm just gonna go look at the YouTube thing to try to get this really high time to beat this person on my tier or my leaderboard here. You're like, oh, I need to be doing like 5 things basically all at once, or so on top of each other that they might as well be all at once within a tenth of a second. And it's like, I can't do that. And then you're like, well, let me just try. And you start doing the movements, and you're like doing this half wax on over here with your mouse, and on the keyboard you're like rolling your fingers to just time this so you could do this perfect sort of jump, shoot your little ball, your little exploding ball, hit it with your sword just right so you hear the tink, and it shoots you over the wall onto the water, and then you're skating so fast, and it's like, oh my god, that like it feels so good when you pull those off. And that's the kind of thing that can get me playing a game, a level over and over and over and over again for hundreds of times, just trying to shave off a couple of tenths of a second. It's mesmerizing, and it's exactly what it needs to be. And there's anime and there's a story, and that stuff doesn't even get in the way, because I'm not there for that. I'm not even trying to like read it at all. It doesn't really get in the way. I just fast forward through it, and I'm right back into a level, and I'm happy to do so. So yeah,
I love when video games are like a microcosm of the whole learning a skill thing, right? So like if I wanted to play the piano right now, I would start and have no idea what I'm doing, and it would seem impossible. And if I put in a lot of work and practice for years, eventually I would be able to like play Mozart or something, right?
Right.
And here, like in 2 hours of trying that one level cascade, at first it's like there's no way I can jump, turn, and shoot, aim at this one enemy, shoot him perfectly, do another half turn and shoot this other enemy, and then do all this platforming, other things to make it through here. But you just keep doing it, and it's like, oh wow, like the stuff that was hard is now muscle memory. It's incredible how humans work like that. That's great, and it just becomes so satisfying. It's super fun.
Yeah, it's and if you are willing to spend 2 hours on a level, it's really noticeable that you're getting better, because I go from being like, okay, I'm getting high on my leaderboard, to being top 200 in the world, top 100 in the world on some levels. So it's like, oh, if other people had spent this much time on the level, they would be up here with us as well. I'm just the crazy person who's actually doing it, and it's like, okay, it's fun to notice.
And we're just crazy enough to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Geoff, I usually have more tolerance for some of the like story stuff and dialogue stuff than you, but even I in this game am kind of like, I'm not skipping it yet. I'm going through it pretty fast though, and I have no desire to do the optional dialogue things and stuff like that.
I've completely skipped over all those, obviously. But like I will go back and get all the gifts eventually, but that's also not why I'm here. So there's gifts hidden in each level.
Yeah, I like getting the gifts.
Yeah, I
don't like giving the gifts to them, because then they talk to me more.
Right, exactly. But it's like right now I'm like, okay, I'm worried about my leaderboards, and then I will go back later and unlock all the presents or whatever. But it's just, it knows exactly what it needs to be. And so you get the fast restart, and once you restart, it's like immediately you just go, and it's so easy to get in that flow of, okay, I'm gonna hit the button, we're gonna go, I'm gonna do these motions without even thinking about it, and then I'm gonna get to the part that I'm struggling with, and just sort of bang my head against that until I figure it out. And eventually, the magical thing is you do figure it out, and that is kind of what I come to games for. A lot of people talk about. I saw someone in our chat saying, "I just wish Switch had achievements." I don't come to games for the achievements that developers put in there. I come to these things for me, the magical thing is stuff like leaderboards and seeing myself get better at a game, and like feeling achievement. And I'm not like putting anyone down who likes trophies or achievements. It's just the different thing that I like is not, these little things built into there. It is just feeling that way. And this game has that in spades. So it's probably going to end up being my game of the year. It's going to be real close with Elden Ring. But I love this game. Neon White is fantastic.
You wouldn't even consider docking it because you don't like that story stuff, huh?
No, it's not even. No, it's not. It does not hurt it. Even it's completely separate from how I'm engaging with this game.
Yeah, because I maybe would.
That's fine. I think that's a completely fair
that's
position.
a different conversation for maybe later. But I mean, it wants to do like the Hades or even Persona thing. But the problem is in those games, all that talking to character stuff really would impact the kind of more gameplay focused stuff in a way that this isn't really doing. So even aside from the tone in the writing, which is subjective, that's like my, I guess, a mechanical issue with it.
Right.
Is that it feels so easily skipped that I almost wonder why it's there.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and I think when you're like assessing it from like how it's pieced together as a product, I think it's pretty easy to be like, yeah, this stuff isn't working, and so I think it's fair to dock it. But for me, it's like when I'm in a level for 2 hours and I'm making that small progress. Nothing else in the world exists, let alone some story I am not even reading. I'm not even going
right.
with. So
you don't even know what a neon white is, except for the fact that he's white and he seems to be the main character.
Yes,
and there's a very big picture of his face on the screen.
I start up the game and then I go over to my OBS to start streaming, and so in the background it's like we're neons, and I'm okay, I get it. Spike Spiegel.
And it's loud, even though you can't like turn that part down. Oh, that's they sure to get all the anime voice actors, and anime voice actors, they sure do that job differently than normal voice actors,
yes,
don't they?
They do that voice, right? Lonely Mountain Downhill is one Jared Helder in chat mentions. That's another great speedrunning game. I love that.
Which one? Oh, Lonely Mountain Downhill. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. I think we're gonna wrap up. Let me see if I can wake this thing. Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at ToeCoto. I'll be hoping to do some more Neon White, at least a bit tonight. It's been so much fun. I did to start Kentucky Route Zero also, which is our game game.
Yeah, I'll get that installed on. I think I might have it for Switch, but if not, I'll get on Steam Deck and play it there.
Well, it's on Game Pass right now.
Okay. Well, maybe I think I did actually just plug in my Xbox, so I'll make that happen. Did you say 90s Disney and all that?
90s Disney, 90sdisney.com. I'm at Games Beats, and Jeff and I will be back on Tuesday for Less Than a $10. Who's your guest on the Game Mess Mornings tomorrow, Jeff?
Tam is going to be on tomorrow, and then I need to figure out some people for next week. Mike, can you do it Monday? Can you do Monday?
I sure can, Jeff.
Okay, that sounds good. I need someone for Thursday because Jan is off. I think I'm going to get Imran Khan on there. So
there you go.
So I think we'll be set for next week. Let me ask Imran, actually, to see if he might still be on vacation, too. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitch. We've both been streaming more often, so definitely check out our Twitch stuff whenever we go live. If you join the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess or GameMess.net, you get like notifications when we go live for stuff. And like when the podcast starts, you get notifications. And when I do stuff on Giant Bomb, stuff pops up on the feed there. So if you want to keep track of what we're doing, that's a great way of doing so. Me and Mike are going to try to do something in person here pretty soon. We're working on exactly what that looks like. But when we do, we'll probably just hang out. But then also, I don't know, we'll turn on the computers. Maybe we'll get some streaming done too. I think that'll be fun. Yeah. So keep an eye out for that. But we'll let everybody know when that's going to happen. Mike, I know that's, got the weekend coming up here pretty soon. You got any plans?
No, I think I need to do some work around the house, maybe do some yard work, but that's it. Last holiday weekend, there's a lot of people to see, a lot of events to go to. I really want to stay in, play some video games, work on some of my own stuff. Hopefully, maybe I'll tell the family, leave me alone. I don't want to see you unless you give me food or money.
It's always a good way of treating your family members. Mike.
Yes,
we're out of here, everybody. Have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye. See you next time.
Bye.
And we're going to play Rift Tracks tomorrow night, everybody. Rift Tracks on twitch.tv/Jeff Grubb. I'll see you then.